I have played Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing that experience, all the information I've gathered, and everything else in between. This is something you do not want to miss, so strap on in because it's going to be a good one. So with that all being said, what is up guys, Jen here, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. As always, got you covered, timestamps down below, so if you want to skip to a certain section, feel free. All I ask is you to support the channel and hit the like button. And if you want to stick around for some more Final Fantasy content, you're already in the right place. Just hit that subscribe button. Now, not only did I get to play Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, I also got to meet the director, Kazutoyu Mihiro, and the co-director, Ayako Yokoyama. That was just an honor in itself. I had my original copy of Final Fantasy Tactics, the Japanese version, signed, as well as a few other things, got to chat to them. It was great, and I'm very thankful that I got the opportunity, but I know that you're here for the information and what I got to play when it comes to the Ivalice Chronicles, so let's dive in. So you're probably asking, Jen, what did you get to play? Well, first of all, we got to play it on the PlayStation 5, and we played the intro of the game all the way up to the world map, and we got to do the Zerchella Falls section and play that battle in its entirety. And these were both played through the enhanced version of the game, so we're not really going to be going over any classical stuff here in today's video. So just briefly touching on the intro, and we'll go into the battles later when we talk about combat. But we boot up the game, we pick our difficulty, and of course we have Squire, Knight, and Tactician. We were told to go with the Knight difficulty, but for those that want to know what Tactician difficulty is all about, I don't think you'll be disappointed if you are wanting that challenge from Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles. We then got to pick our star sign, our birthday, and then I was greeted with that absolutely beautiful animated intro, then going in to the intro of the game. So let me touch on a few things that I noticed during that intro section. So first, I want to start off with the graphics. I've seen in my comments that a lot of people are not happy with the graphics, or they just think it's a port, they've used filters. No, this has been completely redrawn and redone, and when you actually have it in front of you on a HD monitor, the videos, they don't do it justice. This looks fantastic. It's really nice, and with the new lighting that they have, really shines in cutscenes and battles. It gives it a little bit more atmosphere. There's also a blur effect, like a depth of field effect, so when characters are speaking, you can see that the focus is on there and everything's kind of blurred a little bit. This also applies to battle when you're picking actions or if big attacks are happening. I really like this, but I could see a lot of people not liking this feature, so I am happy to say you can turn that option straight off in the menu. The intro is setting up the story, so we get a good chunk of the voice acting here, and I've got to say, I'm really happy with it. We've got an awesome cast. The story of Final Fantasy Tactics is famous for being one of the best Final Fantasy stories. To combine such great voice talent with a great story, I put it on auto, I sat back, had the headphones on, and I just was drawn into this story. The performances are amazing, and I'm sure when we get to those scenes later in the game, it's going to be one to remember, and I think this is where it's going to get a lot of praise, and I'm glad that they've put the effort in reworking the script to support this so we can feel the emotions and just feel the stakes that Final Fantasy Tactics has to offer.
Where has he gone? Where is your den? Mayhap a beating would loosen your tongue. Enough, Argath.
Once that intro was over, yes, there's a little bit of a combat section in that intro before we get to the world map, but we'll talk about combat later, just bear with me. But I want to talk about the world map right now. Navigating this world map, it looks great. We've seen the map in a couple of previews. It's really easy to traverse. There's ease of access now going from location, so you don't have to walk the routes. You can look at a menu, and if you want to quickly go back to a location to maybe do a battle or find something, you can do that. But the most efficient thing here that I found was the shops. So let's say you're after a certain weapon, but you don't really want to go through each location to try and find out which has the weapon weapons you want. You can look at the menu. Each location now tells you what they have to offer in their shops, whether it's a certain item, weapons, armor, or accessories. It's all here and it's very helpful and a great quality of life. Next up, when it comes to the world map, random battles. So you can go to a certain node on the world map and it can trigger a battle, but instead of going straight into that battle, you have a choice whether to engage it or to flee. So if you're not expecting something or you're trying to go to somewhere, you can just skip over that battle. But then there's those that want to grind and want to find certain enemies. Maybe there's certain items that we want experience to grind or monsters to capture. We have a button that searches for enemies on that certain node. So we are getting the best of both worlds here. The world map has had a great quality of life here. I think it's a change that a lot of people are going to like. Next up on my list of what I want to talk about is the menus. This is a tactical RPG, so we're going to be spending a lot of time in menus, but it's 2025 and we want that to be as efficient as possible. And while playing through Final Fantasy Tactics, this was a joy to navigate. Heck, I wanted to just go in all of the little corners of the menus just because of how well it all looks. And that's because it's down to its redesigned UI. It's easy to go through, it's really clean. All the information you need is there. There's icons for pretty much everything, and you can just see, look at the footage and just appreciate this UI and how easy it's going to be to go through when we're changing our jobs. So let's break down the menus and what we've got here. So first up, we have units. This is somewhere where we're going to be definitely spending a lot of time. Of course, we know that the roster has now been increased to 50, which is fantastic. We can also favorite units and manage them, change their jobs, equipment, abilities, and everything else in between. Nice little feature that I like is that you can press a button and it brings up a speech bubble of what the character's thinking. I had a chocobo in the party and it had a really funny little thing and it was named Boko and it went Quay. I know some of you prefer walk, but this one went Quay, but it also had in brackets that this is a familiar chocobo we may have seen before, which I believe is a reference to Final Fantasy V, whether this was in the original Final Fantasy Tactics or not. This is a nice little touch, click of a button just to hear the thoughts, and there's a nice little voice line they'll have. That includes just the basic units you are carrying as well. They also make a comment when you change jobs, just to give the menus a little bit of life and personality while you're navigating through all of these options. So we have things that we are familiar with in this units menu, like changing equipment, abilities from jobs we've learned, changing the jobs themselves and the job tree and how to unlock the jobs, etc. But the most unique thing and the thing that I can really appreciate, and I can't believe games like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth still doesn't have this, is combat sets, which is essentially a loadout. You can have 3 for each character. So let's use Ramza as the example here. We have Ramza as a knight. It's our go-to. We use it for most battles. But we've managed to come up with a combination that's really good at efficiently grinding, and we don't want to be switching the job and then equipping the right accessories and weapons and armor. No, we can make a loadout and change it on the fly, and if we want Ramza to be maybe a healer for some battles, we can do that. It's all at the click of the button. It's a great quality of life feature, and I'm sure it's one that's going to be utilized quite well, especially, like I said, if you've got a place you like to grind and you want to flip all your characters to that grind so you can make that battle as efficient as possible. Next up, we have the inventory. This is pretty self-explanatory. It's where all our items, our armor, weapons are there. We can see descriptions, the icons. It's all here. It just looks clean with the UI upgrade, and it's very much appreciated. Now, the next thing in the menu is probably going to get its own timestamp, and that's the Chronicles menu. This is everything you need to know about Final Fantasy Tactics, whether it's characters, the lore, where you are in the story. This is a great part of the menu to have. So let's break it down. What do we have? We have the encyclopedia. This is where you get to find the information of characters, where you are in the story. We also have locations. Each location you visited, it's got a nice synopsis of what that location presented to you, whether it was a story beat or it's just a battlefield location. And then we have the terms. There might be terms in Final Fantasy Tactics that you might not understand. It has a great breakdown of all of those here in this menu. Next up is State of the Realm. Players that have played Final Fantasy 16 will be familiar with this, but essentially this is a timeline of events of everything that's happened. You can go back and forth through the timeline, how characters have changed through this timeline, all in State of the Realm. a great feature to have here. Next up is events. This is where you can recap all of the voiced cutscenes that you've experienced so far, and this is also where you'll find the War of the Lions movies if you wish to watch them, and I'm happy to say that these have been enhanced and look so much better than they were presented in the PSP version. And then on the bottom here on the Chronicles menu, we have essentially things that we've collected along the way, whether that's the aura site that we've collected throughout the story, reading materials, artifacts, which we now know includes the Japanese exclusive Choose Your Adventure stories, which are going to be great to play through, and it also includes the list of errands or side quests that you've done so far and ones that you need to do. All in all, so far, this Chronicles menu is where a lot of people are going to be spending their time if they are major lore buffs of Final Fantasy Tactics. The amount of effort that they've gone to present this information, incredible. But that's not all. We also have a small section at the bottom of this menu where we have lectures from Master Darlavan. This includes like a strategic section where it breaks down like how to manage units, how to best do certain battle strategies, using items and equipment, how status effects work, all going into detail with some more advanced tactics, or we could say tactics advanced. Last up, we have the academic report. This is essentially your achievements that you can collect throughout the game. There are 50 here, and the way that they are listed, the top one being, hey, this is the one you can earn once you've got all of the other 49, tells me that this is probably what the achievement and trophy list when it comes to Xbox achievements and PlayStation trophies. I've seen them. I'm not going to spoil them, of course, but there's going to be a lot here to keep people busy, especially if you want to get through some of those end game content dungeons. Right, we're getting towards the end of the video here, and we're going to cap it off with the battle. And I can just say straight off the bat that battles are just how you remember them in Final Fantasy Tactics, but with all of the bells and whistles that we've gone over, including the enhanced UI and a few other features that we're going to be going over right now. So you can place units on the battlefield while seeing the battlefield now. So you no longer have a separate menu where you don't really know what you're going up against and you don't really know how to tackle it. That's out the window now. You can see it. You can go into the tactical view if you wish to get a lay of the land and really plan your tactical battle. After this is done, you're either going to get thrown into a story cutscene if it's a story related battle, or if you are just doing a battle, you're going straight to battle here. Now, since we played the Zerchella Falls section here, it was a story section, so we got a nice bit of voice acting, but that voice acting then carries on into the characters' turns and when characters use certain attacks. Objectives and guests are marked easily on the battlefield for you. So for example, during this section, we need to protect Sovilia here, and she's clearly marked so we know where she is, and because this is a battle where if her HP diminishes, it's game over. We want to be making sure we go over to her with healing spells and potions, so the fact that she's marked, just in case you lose track of where she might be, it's nice to have. Another great feature is that you can retread your steps. So if you want to move your character then attack, in the original Final Fantasy Tactics, once you've moved, you can't be like, oh, wait a minute, I've made a wrong move. I think it would have been better if I went over here. You couldn't do that. You had to just deal with it and select an appropriate attack in the situation you are. Now, if you do it now in the Ivalice Chronicles, you can then retread your steps and go back if you want to. It's nice to have that breakup in that, just in case you do make that mistake. The combat timeline, we've seen this since it was revealed. This is a great thing to have now that it's more accessible. You could do it in the original Tactics, but you had to navigate through quite a few of menus. That's all been thrown out the window. We've got the combat timeline, and this includes when an enemy is going to be completely disappeared from the battlefield, how long certain magic casts may be. It's all here so you can just have that extra layer to the tactical thinking when it comes to combat. You can fast forward at any time, so if you don't really want to see the enemy pick their spots and use their attacks, just hold R1 however long you want and then let go whenever. Dead easy access. It's not a toggle. Just hold the button and you can watch things breeze by. This is great for just doing battles that you're already familiar with, or if you've had a game over and you're trying to get back to the point where you once were. With the enhanced UI, you can now see more details like what the percentage of an attack hitting is going to be, and if the enemy is going to maybe retaliate with a parry or a counter it lets you know all in the menu, so maybe you don't want to attack someone if they're going to parry you because you're low on health. It just gives you an extra layer of thinking about what to do next. And then once you've gained victory, you have the typical spoil screen, but you also have a nice little section of the greatest contributor to your fight, which is a nice little spotlight that can be shined on one of your units, and they get a little bit of appreciation at the end of the battle. But that is pretty much battle in a nutshell. Again, for those that want a greater challenge, I can tell you, you're probably going to have a good time with the tactician difficulty. The standard difficulty here, we didn't have too much challenge, but we definitely had to take some extra potions and be very aware of where everyone's location was. So I'm very excited to dive into even more. And that about brings me to the end of the preview. I've tried to go over as many things I'm allowed to go over. If I've missed something and I'm allowed to answer it, let me know in the comment section down below. But there's not long to go now, just the end of the month. Very excited. Let me know in the comment section down below. Are you going to be picking up Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, and what platform are you going to be picking up for? I appreciate you sitting through this nice preview. And until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.